In this video, we will play more with the DOM model and use JavaScript to target certain elements within my HTML to make some changes like color changes and whatnot. And so as you can see here, we have an ordered list. So this HTML has an ordered list with list items, 3 list items underneath the ordered list. So let's say, for example, I want to color my elements, again using JavaScript, not using HTML. And so we will be adding script within our body of the HTML, and that's where your JavaScript code will go. And so let's say I want my list items to be green. Okay, so first, if we do something like document.querySelector, what this method does is that it returns the first element in the DOM that matches the selector that I put in here. And so if I want to target my list item, I would put li in here. But remember, this will target the first match, which is gold in this case. And so let's say I want to assign this particular selection to a variable, and let's call this list item. So I'm going to do let list items equal this particular selector. So I'm selecting the first li in the document DOM model of my HTML. Okay, all I'm doing here is I'm just assigning this to this variable. And so if I want to change the color to green, for example, I can say something like list items dot style equal, and now I'm gonna change the style of this to the color green. So you want to change the color to green, and then you want to close the semicolon. And so remember, what we're targeting in this case, we're only targeting the first list item. So if I run this, you see how the first list item is now turned to be green. Now if I want to target all of these, then you want to do document.querySelectorAll. And what this does, this method returns an array containing all the DOM nodes that matches the selector. So it's going to return all of this. So imagine now we have an array called list items, and the array has these 3 elements. And remember, array index starts at 0. So this is list items 0, list items 1, and list items 2. So if I were to run this right now, if I hit run, you see this is not changing the color green. So since we have an array now, I have to specify which one of my list items I want to change to the color green. So if I want to target the first one, remember this is index number 0 for the array, so I would put list items 0, so index 0 in square brackets, and now when I run this, it targets the first element in my array. Now if I want to target all elements, instead of creating this multiple times, I can use a for loop. So I would say something like for, and then create create a variable called I, which we're going to be using to go through the for loop. So let I equal 0. So we start at index 0. And then what we will do is that we will check the length of the array. So the length of this array is 3, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, so we have 3. So we're going to check each time we run the loop if I is less than the length of list items. So list items dot length. And then we will increase the counter by 1 each time it runs. So remember, we're going to add curly brackets here. And we'll also not forget to close the curly brackets. And instead of putting 0 now, we're going to put I. So what we're saying here is, first we're going to create the array that has all of these elements in it, and we call it list items. Then we will use a for loop to run this particular style, and each time it runs, basically the first list item that it will select from my array is item 0, which is gold, and it will style it with green. Then as it goes back, it check, because so it adds to the I 1, and then of course it keeps checking if it's less than the length. So this will run basically 3 times until I is basically equal to 3. Then 3 is not less than 3 anymore, so then it breaks the loop, and then it keeps going. So look, if I run this, we have all green using the for loop. I hope this recording helps you understand how to target elements within your HTML using document.querySelector or query selector all.